to the first Cherry Moon Previews episode. I'm John Crilly.
And I'm tired. I'm Lewis.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about comics due out in July of this year. We're going to go through Marvel and DC and some of the big events that are going on there, and some of the other issues that are starting, some that are sort of running as well that you may be interested in, and then we'll talk about some of the sort of smaller publishers as well. They're big now, aren't they? Image, etc. So we're going to start off talking about Marvel Comics. We're going to talk about House of X, which is the new X-Men series that Jonathan Hickman's returned to Marvel for.
X-Men.
Did you read The Uncanny X-Men that was fairly recent?
No.
I
don't think I've read much. No.
Well, I stopped reading X-Men a while back because they just did too many books and it got a bit silly for me. So I kind of gave it up for a while.
Because there's so many. I don't know how anyone could afford to read them all at the same time.
No, and it was hard to keep up as well. Like, if you missed stuff, you genuinely didn't know what the hell was going on. Do you know what I mean? So, the plan was to squash it into one book. So they squashed it into Uncanny X-Men,
right,
which originally was weekly, which is unusual for American comics. And then it moved to bi-weekly. But they've decided to put an end to that now, and they're doing House of X. They've got Jonathan Hickman back, who did he did a big Fantastic Four run for Marvel. He did Infinity and Secret Wars, the newer Secret Wars. So he's done some big event stuff before for Marvel. Pepe Larraz is doing the artwork. Sorry if I've pronounced that wrong.
Peep.
Don't know much about him, to be honest.
Larraz.
But the artwork looks pretty cool. And the thing about House of X is something to do with Professor Xavier, and he's got this plan to shine a light back on mutant kind. Try and get them back into sort of not the public eye as such, but kind of.
Have they got a negative light on them at the moment?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the X-Men always kind of have had that kind of they've been looked down on by humans and stuff like that, haven't they? So I think the plan is there's two books. There's House of X and there's Powers of X. Powers of X focuses more on Xavier's past and a lot of the other mutants' past and present and stuff, and kind of has a play around with some of the older myths and some of the stuff with the characters. So that's kind of exciting.
Is that by Jonathan Hickman?
Yeah, so Hickman's writing both. R.B. Silver is doing the artwork for Powers of X, and they're just 3-issue books. These.
Okay.
So they're just little mini series to get you into.
I love a good mini
the new feel for it. Yeah, artwork looks pretty cool. Xavier's got this kind of weird.
It's like a
Mysterio-esque bulbous helmet, which is pretty cool.
It's not.
I like it.
It's
I like
massive.
that look. It's cool.
It's so big.
It's obviously like a Cerebro thing going on. Magneto's all in white, which looks pretty cool. And obviously Cyclops and Wolverine are back. So it's like...
Wolverine looks short, though.
Yeah.
Let's throw an image up.
Image. So yeah, I'm sort of excited because I do love the X-Men. X-Men was one of the first comics I got into. So I'm looking forward to it, and I've read some of Jonathan Hickman. I mean, Jonathan Hickman's been at Image for a while now, so he's coming back to Marvel, which could work, hopefully. But we'll see, that's out in July, and then I don't know where they're going to go after this. I presume Jonathan Hickman's going to do a lengthy run, but maybe the X-Men will explode into another 1,000,000 books. Who knows?
It's nice that he's writing both of them.
Yeah, he's obviously got a plan.
Yeah. It'll be hopefully less convoluted.
I hope so, because the X-Men can get a bit messy. But maybe now that Xavier's back and Wolverine, Cyclops and stuff, it's kind of classic back to sort of the classic X-Men.
I think it all depends on the writers, though, doesn't it? Like you can have as many characters. You can have 10s, 20s, but as long as it's written well, and it's handled well, it's fine. Yeah, and if they are going to go into some of the
the characters' pasts as well, and maybe change what you originally thought of these characters. That might be a little bit interesting as well. So just have to wait and see what happens with that. So that's Marvel in July. We've also got.
It's just a box on the floor of information.
Sorry, we'll edit this, don't we? So we've also got History of the Marvel Universe, written by Mark Waid, who has done Daredevil stuff with Marvel in the past. He's been with Marvel for quite a while, really.
Who's writing the current Daredevil?
I forget.
I'll edit that out.
Yeah, we'll edit that in. Me going blah 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 blah.
I'll just put it over your mouth.
And Javier Rodriguez is doing the art for this History of Marvel Universe, and we've both been having a look at that. It's like,
the one with the
it's very cool artwork, very kind of narratively done, all like little kind of blends of origins of characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very colourful. Looks very cool. Looks very interesting.
Thor in one page.
Yeah, it's sort of the him being banished by Odin, all in one kind of page, and there's some Weapon X stuff. There's some Galactus and
Love a bit of Galactus.
Silver Surfer artwork in issue 1 that looked really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. That's a 6-issue mini-series as well.
Mini-series.
So if you're a DC reader or you're wanting to get into Marvel Comics, that might be something that you look at, because it looks like a kind of explanation of the origins of some of the the key characters in the Marvel Universe. We've also got a Loki series starting, issue 1 in July. There is a Wolverine versus Blade one-shot comic.
Blade's back.
Which looks really interesting. Yeah, they seem to be pushing Blade since they sort of brought him back in the Avengers. They're kind of putting him into a few books now, which is interesting. Which makes me think, are they going to
do a movie?
Well, maybe introduce him into the movies or into a TV series or something at some point. Who knows? Giant-sized Ecstatics as well, which you've not read. Ecstatics came after an X-Force run. I don't know if you remember. It's a cool comic, kind of satirical, bit weird, kind of dark, but it's not been around for a while.
What's it called? Ecstatic?
Ecstatics.
And it's spelled because it'll be...
Ecstatics.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to run out of puns someday.
Sure, they are, yeah. Death's Head's back as well, who was a 90s kind of naff Marvel character.
Okay.
I think put it in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think he was introduced in the English Marvel comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The big ones, yeah.
Yeah. So he's back, and that looks really odd. He kind of turns up at a punk gig or something. It looks pretty interesting. Punisher Kill Crew is a spin-off from the War of the Realms, which is running at the minute. That's Marvel's big event.
Is that the one that you showed me on the cover? He's
got like a Viking helmet on, and he's blasting frost giants and ogres and stuff. Yeah,
has he got the hammer? Or has he got a hammer?
He's got an axe, I think, like a giant axe or something. Yeah, obviously there'll be an image on this video because we're professionals. So that looks interesting. That's just a little mini-series that we thought we'd show you. And for any Fantastic Four fans, anyone reading the current Fantastic Four, there's an Invisible Woman series starting. Again, Mark Waid's writing that. And the artwork looks really, really nice for that. Adam Hughes is doing the covers. Really nice stuff. So that's Marvel. We'll move on to Dusser Detective Comics.
Detective Comics.
So in July...
what have we got? What's
July, there is a new Doom Patrol comic coming.
Oh, yes.
Called Weight of the Worlds. And this is written by Gerard Way, who wrote the Umbrella Academy comics.
You might have seen it on Netflix if you have.
Yeah, there's a TV show that. And of course, recently there was a Doom Patrol TV show as well, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. And
so
it's
I think
really good.
Yeah, I think DC are maybe pushing that because of the show. So he's co-writing it with a guy called Jeremy Lambert, which I don't know much about. Artwork by James Harvey, who's I've seen his stuff, but I don't know much about him. Very kind of stylized, cool, kind of cartoonist looking artwork. Really cool. So, and that's for mature readers. So I imagine it's going to be kind of dark, a bit kind of out there because.
Well, Doom Patrol is.
Yeah, I mean the old run of Doom Patrol moved onto the Vertigo label back in the day because it was a bit, you had people like Grant Morrison and different writers taking it in a kind of darker, weirder direction.
I think we sold all Grant Morrison's. Who's this?
Yeah, I think we
Rachel
did.
Pollack?
Yeah, but again, it kind of stuck with the, suggestive of mature readers. So it's it was
Don't
an
read
adult
it, kids.
book.
It's got
So
all sorts of.
I'm guessing
nonsense.
they're keeping that kind of wacky, weird, dark theme going. Be interesting to see. You've seen the Doom Patrol show, haven't you?
I have. I've seen the first few episodes, and it's really well made. It's
It looks strange.
I can't just compare it to anything else because obviously, it's like the comic is not a superhero comic, but they are sort of like a squad of misfits.
Yeah, it's a little like, I suppose it is a little bit like Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, they're not your traditional kit-wearing superheroes, but they do.
There's like an X-Men ideal to it, like a team of
yeah, they're in like a school, like a professor man.
So it's like X-Men, but darker.
It's exactly like X-Men, except he's not in a wheelchair.
No wheelchairs.
Got a mutant hummingbird.
It's a UFO.
Cycles.
There's woodpeckers in ceiling.
Image. An image of
also,
a woodpecker.
Also in July, we've got Batman Universe #1, Superman Up in the Sky #1, and Wonder Woman Come Back to Me #1. And these are reprints from the giant sizes that they did in September of last year.
But they're cut out in their own.
Yeah, they've been put into their own book because but this sounds interesting. You've got Brian Michael Bendis writing the Batman book, who's currently writing Superman for
and
DC.
Everything else.
And pretty much everything. Yeah, he's a machine. He's doing so much writing.
He's got a high word count.
And I'm really enjoying the new Superman, so it'll be interesting to read that. And Tom King is writing the Superman book, and he's currently writing Batman for DC. So there's like a bit of a flip there, which is interesting.
And he's been penned to. Is he working on the new Batman movie? Is that right?
I believe so. There's been something floating about with him doing something. Yeah. And again, he's a really interesting writer. You've been reading that Mr. Miracle book that he wrote.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Yeah, it's really good.
He's been writing the Heroes in Crisis, the DC thing at the minute, which I've heard good things about as well, but not managed to get around to reading. So yeah, there's 3 books there that the big 3 of DC, which is interesting with some good writers.
The big 3.
The big 3: Batman, Image. Superman, Wonder Woman. We'll show an image from Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, the greatest film ever.
Oh, so exciting. Also in July, DC, we've got Lois Lane #1. Greg Rucka's writing that. And there's a Jimmy Olsen book as well, written by Matt Fraction.
Who cares?
Matt Fraction's great. But Jimmy Olsen, I don't know.
Just kill him.
And of course, Deceased. Didn't
Jimmy Olsen once get Superman powers?
I don't know. Jimmy Olsen had his own book, didn't he? Back in the day. And now he's got it again.
Oh, if Alfred can get his own TV show, then anything could fucking happen.
Also in July, we've got issue 3 of Deceased. If anyone's been reading that, it looks kind of interesting. I've not read much into it, but
we had a gander earlier.
Yeah, there's a virus unleashed into the DC universe, and it sends everyone a bit crazy. It's like a tech virus, I think, something like that.
Yeah, it's something to do with Robot Man.
Darkseid.
No, the other one.
Robot Man. What's his name? Robot Man. Cyborg.
Cyborg, yeah.
So that looks really interesting. Looks quite dark as well, quite violent. Issue 2 of Event Leviathan, Brian Michael Bendis again. That's another kind of
I forgot about
Alex
Leviathan,
Melev's
no?
doing the art as well. He's a great artist.
Behind on that. That's a really good comic.
Mm.
That's Image, isn't it?
What?
Wait, Leviathan. Wait.
Oh, this
what
is
am
the
I thinking
event
of?
of Leviathan.
Oh.
This is the thing that's going on in
Sorry,
DC now.
sorry everyone.
You're confusing yourself there, mate.
I'm an idiot.
It's alright, we'll put a picture up of the Image one, and then it'll like break, and then we'll put the real one up.
I'll just put a dunce hat on me.
And there's a book called Collapser starting, which is part of the Young Animal label that DC are doing. That Doom Patrol's under that as well. I don't know
Young
if you've-
Animal?
Yeah, it's like just a group of books. You know, like they're doing the DC metal and the DC. There's different umbrellas, isn't there? And that looks quite
Like
interesting. I don't know much
Vertigo
about it,
is
sadly,
to-
to tell you, but that looks kind of cool, and that's starting then.
Is it a bit like how Vertigo is to DC?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've just got these different umbrellas. It's like the Sandman stuff in it as well at the minute.
Is that not Vertigo?
Yeah, that's under Vertigo. So the Vertigo thing's still going.
Yeah.
Because, what was that one you were reading? Border Town. That was a Vertigo as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Let's not talk about that. Google it. Border Town.
Alright, we'll just quickly go through some of the other books that are coming.
Books.
Image Comics. There's a Mark Miller book called Space Bandit starting.
Mark
Had a
Miller.
brief look at that. Looks pretty cool. Bit of a sci-fi adventure. Looks artwork looks really cool, nice and colourful. Looks really interesting. Jason Aaron's writing a book for Image called Sea of Stars. Cullen Bunn is doing Unearth, which is a kind of another kind of virus unleashed thing that looks really interesting. The artwork looks really interesting for that.
Image can't do no wrong.
No, and Cullen Bunn is writing for every single publisher at the minute. It's insane. He's writing everything. He's writing for Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse.
Boom.
He's just like, I don't know where he's like Bendis. He's just like putting work out. Unbelievable. It's insane. And there's a book called Reaver that looks pretty cool as well. So you might want to check that out. I'll pass you this one. Dark Horse Comics are doing an Orville book. Well, they're doing two little mini series. I think there's 2 issues in each. So it's 4 comics in total, and this starts in July.
Image.
Tell us about the Orville.
The Orville is the new Star Trek, in my opinion. If anybody who watches Star Trek hasn't seen the Orville and doesn't like Discovery, I'd say check out the Orville. It's Seth MacFarlane who created Family Guy and all that crap, and he's basically fooled Fox Network into making a really clever sci-fi show. I know there's going to be a little, what is it, a 2-parter?
Yeah, the first story is 2 parts, and then there's another 2-part story as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's coming in, the coming months.
Yeah, seriously, if you like sci-fi and you think this is just going to be like dick jokes and stuff, really check out the Orville. It's surprising. It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I don't know much about the writer, David A. Goodman, but
The Goodman.
The Goodman. Sure.
I don't know who he is,
I don't know who he is.
but it's got the classic art of like when like a comic artist draws someone that already exists.
Yeah. So they've used reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool.
He's not. Yeah, these references are alright. It's not as bad as Alex Ross making himself Superman.
Drawing himself as Captain Marvel.
Yeah. You don't feel that anyone
Why does
Ross.
Captain Marvel look like a bloke with the wig on?
Jesus.
Also, Dark Horse are doing a Black Hammer Justice League crossover, which is interesting. So I'm going to look into that. That looks pretty interesting. Like I say, Cullen Bunn is again writing for Dark Horse, doing a book called Manor Black, which looks like a horror comic. Looks
Manor,
cool.
as in the house, like a
Yeah,
manor.
yeah. It looks like a kind of horror.
I thought it was Irish, like Mano Black.
Mano Black. No. And then there's a current Stranger Things book running. Issue 3 comes out in July. This is a prequel to the first season of Stranger Things.
Right.
So it's called 6, and it's about a girl called 6. So obviously in the show you've got 11. the guy who experimented on 11.
Hmm.
What was he called? What's the actor called?
Dr. Scientist.
Dr. Scientist Man. That guy is in the book, and he's clearly like one of the first experiments, I'm guessing, because they're up to number
she's the
6.
sixth.
Number 6, yeah. Clever that. Quickly talk about IDW. They've got a Care Bears book starting for
Yay.
the little ones.
My
Called
favourite.
Unlock the Magic. And they're also doing an Island of Dr. Moreau adaptation. And that looks pretty cool. Looks
do
cool.
all
That's
that,
just a 2-part book as well, so that looks pretty cool. Dynamite Comics are bringing back Vampirella issue 1. They're doing a total kind of reboot thing with that, making a big deal of it. I think it's her anniversary. I think it's like 50 years of Vampirella. She's been going that long now.
Don't know. Rob will know.
Yeah, so Christopher Priest's writing this. Don't know much about his work, but the variant covers got Alex Ross, Frank Cho, Adam
Are these
Arthur Hughes.
Are these cover variants or
Yeah, yeah.
actual? Right, okay.
Yeah. So anyone into that kind of stuff, that's a key issue to get into, really.
If you like goths and boobs,
Yeah.
goths and read Gummy Bears.
And then
Whatever
Boom
it's called.
Comics, there's a trade paperback called Just Beyond the Scare School, written by R.L. Stein, who did the Goosebumps books.
Goosebumps.
So that's like a kind of kiddies horror book. Looks pretty cool.
Terrifying.
And we've got issue 6 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and we've got issue 8 of Firefly as well for all those Joss Whedon fans. So they're ongoing books, pretty popular at the minute. They sell pretty well
They
in the
are,
shop.
yeah.
They're flying around.
They're selling faster than hotcakes and Deadpool comics.
That's right. That's pretty much it for July's previews.
Email.
Leave us some messages in the comments. Any books we may have missed. Anything you want to talk about.
We've got an email address.
You can email us and pre-order any of the books that we've talked about, or any other books that you're interested in. It's cherrymoonpreorders@gmail.com. Right there. That's about it.
That is about it.
Obviously, on the next video, we'll talk about some of the stuff that's coming out in August. Like I say, drop us a message. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. It's good that. Painless. Let's see if there's any. I hope it's still recording.
It wasn't that long, that. Was it? What was it on? Nice.